Hey, good afternoon. I'm here to drop another Drew on another consumer report. Quick disclaimer, you can follow me on TikTok, Paralegal Nation, Facebook under Paralegal Nation, YouTube under Paralegal Nation as well, or you can follow my Instagram page, Mr. Armani 1985. I'm here to drop another Drew on a consumer report that, of course, a lot of people don't know nothing about. This one is called Advanced Resolution Services Incorporated, ARS for short. So I'm just going to read you like the first paragraph. They're going to give you, of course, it's going to have your name and date. And it says, "Dear Mr. Amani, in response to your request, we are enclosing your Advanced Resolution Service Inc. report. As a consumer reporting agency and subsidiary of Visa Inc. that assists financial institutions in evaluating risk minimization loss and analyzing cardholder accounts, the Federal Credit Reporting Act permits ARS to provide certain types of consumer information to those financial institutions for a specific purpose allowed by the FCRA. The consumer report discloses all of the information that we currently have on file associated with your Social Security number. This information is provided by Visa and Mastercard bank issuers. It also includes information obtained through certain public records." So, just to break that down, ARS is one of those consumer reporting agencies that most banks and institutions rely on to issue credit cards. Um, Usually, like the standard, you go to TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. But as I told you guys before, a lot of these consumer reporting agencies, they don't just go through just the big three. There's over a dozen of different consumer reported out there that these banks and lenders rely on. So for a lot of credit cards and a lot of bank accounts, they use ARS as a consumer reporting agency to conduct research on you, to pull up information on you, to see if you qualify for that credit card or that bank account. As it states here, your ARS consumer report includes the following: any bankruptcy proceedings reported in your Social Security number, Visa or Mastercard bank card issuers who have provided information using your SSN to ARS or who have received information from ARS, reports of unauthorized or fraudulent use of any Visa or Mastercard bank cards associated with the SSN. So let's break those down. All right. So any bankruptcy proceeding reported to your SSN. So basically, if you file for any bankruptcy, or if you have a bankruptcy lawyer or anybody handling your bankruptcy, I'm going to go over that as well. This consumer report is going to disclose that information. So let's say when Visa or Mastercard, when you try to apply for a Visa or Mastercard with a pending bankruptcy, it's going to show that on this report. So what's going to end up happening is once Visa or Mastercard see this report and they see that you have a bankruptcy on it, what's going to happen is they're going to automatically know because it's going to pull up your credit report. But ARS, they voluntarily give that information to Visa or Mastercard to display your bankruptcy, right? And I'm going to show you the page that it breaks that down. Let's go to the topic number 2 that they talk about. It says Visa or Mastercard bank card issuers who have provided information using SSN to ARS or who have received information from ARS. So basically, when you have a Visa or a MasterCard, what's going to end up happening is this consumer report is going to have that information. Not all lenders use ARS, but majority of the main ones like Bank of America, Navy Federal, they use ARS as a consumer report to get public information from this report to see if you're going to qualify for their particular Visa or MasterCard. And I'm going to show you that information on my report as well. The next thing that this report discloses is reports of unauthorized or fraudulent use of any Visa or MasterCard bank cards associated with their SSN. So for those who have been filing disputes due to fraud, or those who've been victimized by identity theft and your credit card's been stolen, or your identity been stolen, and those credit cards been charged up with all these different anonymous amounts that you know nothing about, this report discloses that information as well. And the reason why they disclose that type of information, especially if it's fraudulent or even not fraudulent or unauthorized, is because when Visa or Mastercard pull up this report, they want to see, are you the type of person that's committing, are you the type of person that been victimized by identity theft a lot, or are you the type of person that's making fraudulent purchases or not, or even unauthorized purchases, because they're going to use that behavior to determine if they're going to give you a card or not. So if you got a whole bunch of unauthorized or fraudulent transactions on your account, and let's say Bank of America pull up this report and they see all those transactions, what's going to end up happening is they're going to look at your report like, okay, well, I don't know if I want to grant him this because he's been victimized by, identity theft or unauthorized or fraudulent transactions. So when you get this report, it's going to have your name, of course, your address, It's going to have a file number here and a report number here. Now, in order for you to get this ARS report, is you want to write them ARS, Advanced Resolution Services Incorporated, P.O. Box 4000, Conway, that's Conway, Arizona, or Arkansas, I'm sorry, 72033, or you can telephone them 1-800-392-8911, sorry. So if you want to write them and get a report, just put your name and your basic information, name, birthday, social security number, a driver license number, picture of your ID, picture of your social security card for our identity theft purposes, and say, hey, I would like a copy of my report. It's free. They're going to send it to you within 2 weeks. All right, let's go to the next page. So the next page is going to have a dispute form, which is here. This is when you get your report. Like I told you guys, if you have closed bank accounts or anything like that, or miscellaneous addresses that you're not affiliated with, go ahead and delete those addresses off. It's going to ask you for your consumer information and what are you disputing, and the rest is down here. So they're going to ask you consumer information, name, street address, telephone number, business phone number, social security number, information disputed, like if you want to dispute a credit card or authorized use that you got cleared up with the bank. You're going to put the institution and the address in your signature and date. What I recommend when it comes to this dispute form is do not use the original. Make a copy of it, so just in case you have some type of errors or you misspell something, etc. The next thing that this report comes with is a copy of your consumer reporting right, your consumer a summary of your rights under the Fair Credit Reporting Act. And basically what that means is you have the right to have a fair credit report. You have a right to have an accurate credit report. You have the right to have the proper information on your credit report as well. So if you have, like I told you guys, have all these different jobs, all these different phone numbers, all these different addresses, go ahead and delete that information because you're not living at those current addresses. You're not working at those current jobs. Go ahead and delete it. Another thing that it comes with is a right to freeze your consumer report. As you can see there, what you want to do is when you get your report and you clean it up, freeze it. The reason why you want to freeze it is because you do not want your information being sold to all these different agencies. So once you clean up everything, freeze it, and then they're going to send you a passcode. Once you get that passcode, then whoever try to pull up your information, they're going to need your permission by calling you directly and giving up that PIN in order for them to look at your report. Another thing that's on this report as well is the list of all the different addresses in Washington, D.C. The Consumer Trade Commission, they have Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, the Office of the Controller of the Currency Customer Associated Group, the Federal Reserve Consumer Help Agency, the FDIC Consumer Response Center. So if you have any trouble dealing with these consumer reports and they're not reporting accurate information, or you feel that they're violating your Fair Credit Reporting Act rights, then you have the right to go ahead and write those government agencies to get it handled or potentially file a lawsuit against them. Another page is the remedy of identity theft. Basically talks about how to deal with identity theft, how to report it, and how to file out your identity theft report with identitytheft.gov and file a proper police report to get this information that you did not put on your report deleted. So that's page 2 of that. Right here is a summary of rights under the California law. So if you're a California citizen, you also have rights as well under the Fair Credit Reporting Act, which is a constitution. Okay, and that's just page 2 of that and page 3. Now let's go into the report itself. So right here, as you can see, it says ARS Consumer Report along with your file number right there, and your name and address is going to be right there. Now on page 1 of 6, it shows Issuers Clearinghouse Services, ICS, user detail. It says the following sections identify institutions that receive information from the issuers clearinghouse services regarding a social security number. Please be advised that the number of credit cards you have applied for, as well as the number of credit card applications otherwise associated with your social security number, are key factors in determining whether an ICS alert is issued. And then it's going to have different applications. So here, as you can see, if you have a bunch of, I don't have no applications, but right there, it's going to have your applications that you filed for different credit cards right there. So if you've been applying for a bunch of credit cards, you're going to have the applications that you apply for these different credit cards. Now, let's go with page 2. As you can see right here, it has Credit One Bank, as you can see here. So that's one of the cards I used to have, and it's going to give you the date that you open it, and it's going to give you a reference number right there. So they don't discard the reference number. It has the actual reference number, the date that you applied, the last four digits of your card, and then the actual bank that you've been affiliated with. So if you have a bunch of credit cards, and let's say you got like 3 with Credit One or 3 with Bank of America, they're going to have a list of all your credit cards that you have on your credit report on this particular report as well. Then right here it says general inquiry section. Right here, general inquiry section. Basically, if you've been applying for credit cards, either soft or hard, they're going to have a list of those as well. And the next one that you have on your report is called pre-screen inquiry selection right here. Pre-screen inquiry section right there. And basically, let's say if you opted in for any credit offers and you accepted some of those credit offers, that's what that means. Now let's go to the next page. So the next page right here is applications received issuers clearinghouse services not requested by institution. So as you can see right here, they got Credit One again, which is a bank that I used to have, and the reference number there. And right here is different credit cards that I had before. So what they do is they're going to have the reference number, the item, the date that you applied, the institution like Navy, Federal, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, and then have the status on file, meaning that they have this information on file. So not only do the 3 major credit bureaus have a copy of your credit cards that you have, if they're on file or not, or if you're using them or not, this ARC has a copy of those credit cards as well. And they put the item, the reference number, the date that you applied, the institution along with their address and status is on file or not. Now right here is credit card authorization use report section, which is right here. So basically, let me read that to you. This says this section indicates claims of use of a personal credit card without cardholder's permission. So basically what that means is all the credit cards that you claim that you did not authorize, or charges that you didn't authorize, is going to have a list of that. And what's going to end up happening is Visa and Mastercard is going to have this information as well. Other banks that use ARS is going to have this information as well. So if they, like I told you guys earlier, if you've been victimized by identity theft, or you have a whole bunch of unauthorized charges, they're going to look at that as a risk, because if they're going to look at like, okay, well, why would I grant this person a credit card if his report shows that he has a whole bunch of unauthorized charges? Is he making these unauthorized charges on purpose, or is he really victimized by identity theft? So you got to think like a banker. You can't think like a consumer. This is how they are. All right, then another page, we have general inquiry section. We went over that. Pre-screen inquiry section. We went over that. Debit card account authorization use report section. So now another section I want to go over right here. It says business card account unauthorized use report section. That's this part right here. So basically, if you have any business credit cards or business accounts that has been having unauthorized use, then they're going to have that on there. Then it has merchant card account unauthorized use report section right here on this part. So merchant card account authorized use report section. So basically, if you have a merchant account with your business, because a lot of us, we own businesses and we have, credit card authorization forms. We have a lot of companies use merchant accounts either through a bank or through Stripe or through Square. If you have a history of having a bunch of chargebacks, or if you have a merchant account that has been victimized by unauthorized credit use, this section indicates claims of use of a card issued for the use of a particular retail store without the cardholder's permission. So they're basically like, some of us who use merchant accounts, that part right there is going to show unauthorized use on that particular section. And then the last section right here is called bankruptcy report section. So remember I told you this report displays if you filed for bankruptcy. So on that part, let me show you what it says. When it comes to bankruptcy, it's going to be this page right here. And I'm going to go over this page with you. So if you file for bankruptcy, it's going to have it on this report. It's going to have status if it's an open. So status, basically open, indicates that a bankruptcy has been filed but has not yet been discharged or dismissed. In dispute indicates that the information in the entry is in dispute and ARS is currently investigating it. Discharge indicates the debts that have been discharged through bankruptcy and are no longer legally enforceable. Dismiss indicates that the bankruptcy case has been terminated without discharge or denial of discharge. Withdrawn, consumer has withdrawn the bankruptcy filing. Close, bankruptcy case has been closed by the court. Now, it's going to have bankruptcy name and address. It's going to have the name, addresses, and any alternate names associated with the bankruptcy filing. Bankruptcy SSN, the last 4 digits of your social security number associated with the filing. Bankruptcy SSN match code, a code describing the SSN identification. Basically, what that means is the bankruptcy under your social security number, or is it under somebody else's social security number, or is it under like a mass social security number, or a CPN, or like an alias social security number as well. So code number 02 means the name, address, and all 9 digits of the SSN meet the match criteria, meaning that they match the records with the Social Security Administration. Code number 03 mean the name and address meet the match criteria, but fewer than 9 digits were an exact match, meaning that there is a full Social Security number, but not all of them exact match. Code number 04, name and address meet the match criteria, but the SSN was supplied by Experian, meaning they got the Social Security number from Experian, which is one of the big three. Code number Y means the address on the bankruptcy filing is different than the one on file with Experian, meaning that ARS coincides with Experian to make sure that that name and address that's on the report matches the one that's on the ARS. It's going to show the bankruptcy status and status date, the current status of the bankruptcy filing and effective date of that status, bankruptcy detail, case number assigned by a U.S. bankruptcy court to the filing, the chapter or type of bankruptcy filed, the most recent scheduled 3148 date, first meeting of the creditors assigned to the filing, whether there was assets reported in the filing Y or N. If it's a joint filing, this section will contain the word joint, meaning that if it's like you're in a relationship with somebody, if it's a joint bankruptcy, it's going to have that information on there as well. The bankruptcy attorney, the law firm, name, address, and telephone number of the attorney on record on the filing. If pro se filing, this area will contain the phrase pro se. So basically, let's say if you file for bankruptcy and John Smith is your bankruptcy attorney, on your ARS report, what I just showed you here, it's going to display the name and firm and address of that attorney working on your bankruptcy, so everybody can see that's pulling up your ARS report to give you credit. It's going to see who your bankruptcy attorney is and the status. I'm reading you straight from the horse's mouth. And then lastly, the bankruptcy court and trustee. It says this number assigned to the U.S. bankruptcy court where the bankruptcy petition was filed, as well as the court's address. In addition, the name and contact information for the trustee assigned to the case by the court. So let's say if you live in Contra Costa County and Martinez is handling your case, they're going on your ARS report, what I just read to you, is going to display the court name. Even it might have the judge, the case number, the address of the court, etc. So I'm going to submit this video online along with the address to get your advanced resolution services report. Get it, clean it up, make a copy of your dispute form before you use the original. Delete all credit cards that is not associated with you anymore to clean up the report, because you don't want to show a bunch of different credit cards on there. Clean it up, and then delete the ones that you don't have. Keep the ones that you do have. And if there's any misinformation like name, address, anything like that, go ahead and delete it. Jobs, anything like that, go ahead and delete it. You guys have yourself a nice afternoon.